Everyone knows that the Marvel movies are all about their heroes. They set out to tell the story of all the titular characters. So far, they've all been men, which makes sense as the vast majority of comic book superheroes in the public consciousness are male. Not to say that there aren't great female comic book characters. Wonder Woman, She-Hulk, Batgirl, and Captain Marvel are just a few of them. The last of which is getting her own Marvel Cinematic Universe movie in 2018. This excites me because the representation of female characters in the media is just woefully underwhelming. So how does the MCU stack up in its portrayal of female characters? Let's take a look at that. Hi, I'm Isaiah, and you're tuned in to The Incredible Melting Men, and this is the women of the MCU. It's no secret that superhero movies can be fairly regressive when it comes to female characterizations. Usually this comes in the form of the old trope, the damsel in distress. The most classic example I can think of is Lois Lane in Superman the movie, with her death causing Superman to literally turn back time. In the past, female characters have served two specific purposes in superhero movies: to be put in danger to motivate the hero, and to serve as a love interest. So from the 70s with Superman the movie, all the way up till the 2000s with Spider-Man and Batman Begins, the hero's mantra has always seemingly been,
rescue the damsel in distress, kill the bad guy, and save the world.
So has Marvel bucked that trend? For the answer to that, we need to start, well, at the start. Iron Man's Pepper Potts. She's not the normal female character. She's strong and in a lot of ways even more emotionally mature than Tony Stark himself. She doesn't even get captured to motivate the hero's final showdown with the villain. Tony was going to have to stop staying either way. So instead of being there simply to make out with Robert Downey Jr. and provide eye candy, she serves a purpose as a character, and a purpose in the third act climax that doesn't involve her being tied up and dangling over some pit of doom. Pepper Potts is a good character, even though she doesn't necessarily pass the test. More on that later. So from the word go, Marvel did better by their female audience than most summer blockbusters do even today. The MCU has many female characters in it. Betty Ross, Black Widow, Jane Foster, Peggy Carter, Gamora, Maria Hill. That isn't even to mention the television characters who are part of the MCU. I can't really assign all of the usual tropes for female blockbuster movie characters to any of them. Betty Ross is a scientist who accompanies Bruce on his quest to cure himself. She is put in danger, but again, she isn't just there to be captured because the villain was already in need of a smashing. Black Widow and Peggy Carter serve as characters who fight alongside their male counterparts, with the former not even having any romantic entanglements in any of her 3 MCU appearances thus far. Black Widow, aka Natasha Romanoff, is a force to be reckoned with, and a strong fighter shown to be cunning and accomplished. She's even more worldly than Cap. She pulls his biscuits out of the fire a few times in Captain America the Winter Soldier. Speaking of helping out Cap, Peggy is also a strong female character. She has her own TV show now, and it's not hard to see why. In her appearance in Captain America, the First Avenger, she shows why she's in the Strategic Scientific Reserve, and why she's a match for Steve Rogers' Super Soldier. She's a strong woman, and it's fun to see her make her way in a man's world in the 1940s. None of these women are just in the films to provide a pretty face for our hero to fall in love with. Not to say their characterizations are absolutely perfect, but they're getting there. While Black Widow and Peggy Carter are pretty much universally loved by fans, many fans have taken umbrage with the characters of Darcy and Jane from the Thor movies. While I can understand why people may not enjoy the comedy relief of Darcy, that's why they don't like her character. It isn't because she serves as shallow eye candy, but because many fans of these movies have decried her character as just being unfunny. In a way, that is progress. Similarly, the character of Jane Foster is many times disliked, not for being just a love interest, but for keeping Thor tied to Earth, when traditionally his character is better served in his adventures across the 9 realms. I personally have no problems with Jane Foster, and I like where the writers of Thor were coming from with her character. She's shown as being intelligent and helpful to Thor's journey into humanity. Again, this seems to be the trend with the Marvel movies. Female characters serve a purpose to the overall story. They can't be replaced by a sexy lamp, as the saying goes. So all these characters are steps in the right direction. Marvel has tried to make their female characters into people who have an impact on the story and the hero beyond their ability to look good in a backless dress. They're good strides toward a better, more equal style of screenwriting. Speaking of screenwriting, remember when I mentioned The Test? What I was referring to is the Bechdel test, which is, according to Wikipedia, a test that asks if a work of fiction features at least 2 women who talk to each other about something other than a man. So let's see how the 10 Marvel movies so far hold up to the test. Alright, so now it's time to play Does It Pass? So there it is. Not all the movies have passed, but the Bechdel test is simple and doesn't necessarily mean a movie is any more or less feminist. The Avengers and Winter Soldier fail, but they have prominently featured female characters who are well written, whereas Guardians of the Galaxy passes, but is ostensibly seen as a movie directed towards young men. It does look like Marvel Studios has at least tried with these films to make the female characters resonate. While still needing a ways to go, these are promising signs of a shift in the way Hollywood treats their female audience. Hopefully Marvel can keep learning from what they've done before and continue to give us deeper and more intriguing female characters. I say bring on Captain Marvel, and hopefully Carol Danvers herself passes the test. Thanks everyone for watching, and be sure to tune in for more from me on Marvel's Cinematic Universe.
And I am not some starry-eyed waif here to succumb to your pelvic sorcery!